All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome back once again to TCR Trinity Competitive Racing. This is the preseason testing ahead of season 12, and we are back with you guys 2 nights in a row. Last night we had our Golden Class drivers battle it out here on track at Spain, and tonight we're back once again with the highest level and the highest class of driving in TCR. It's the Platinum class, and they are out there tonight in strong force. We've got a couple more drivers than what we had last night, and I'm sure we're going to see some really quick times because we have some big names on the board there. We have Bats Plus coming back again 2 nights in a row here. We've got Breezy and Chatty Duck, Deathwish, Stanley. We have Bambuki, the champion, the double champion of Silver Class from both Season 10 and 11. Coming back here again to possibly strike it rich and see what he can possibly do. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one. We're back at Spain once again. It's Blind Machine with you guys in the booth here tonight for another race. And with me in the booth, I've got quite a special member of the TCR League. It's a triple champion. It is Seafreeze, no other than Seafreeze. How's it going?
Blinn, we made it to season 12. We're here in preseason, and I could not be more excited. Especially, I had to get into one of the streams this week because I didn't want to miss out at the start of preseason and season 12. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a nice and relaxed race today to highlight a little bit of a showcase of what we might be seeing in the Platinum division. We got 11 drivers here tonight. You know, we're not going to get everybody here because some guys didn't need to show today. Some were not required. Much of the top 10 from last season. So we have a few new faces, some returning drivers, and you know, we're going to see these guys in their evaluation for Platinum. And we're also live on both YouTube and Twitch for the second night in a row as we're trying this new thing out. So to the YouTube guys and the Twitch, welcome in tonight's race. We're going to have a good one. I'm yet to be in the lobby, but we'll soon be relatively soon. But yeah, let's leave some predictions for season 12 as well. Not only for this race tonight, but maybe you know, for the full season ahead. We have a long season of 15 races, a bunch of cool events returning, as we saw last year in season 11. So there's a lot to look forward to in this full season, as Breezy setting a nice time, P1 at the moment.
Yeah, and a couple of brand new drivers joining us right off the bat as well. We have SCR Landon. F-Trunk was with us for a couple of races in the last season, so we know that he's got quite a bit of potential. He's quite a quick driver there. We have Elias Latope. He's probably going to be pretty quick. I think he was with us also last season. And yeah, we're going to see what he can do. He's going out on a hot lap right now. So far, a nice little mix of the tire compounds. We've got the front 2 drivers on the softs, or 3 drivers on softs right now. 1 medium. A couple of drivers are trying out those mediums, including like Taupe right now. And they are trying everything they can to make sure that they're actually going to start the race on that medium compound. I think it sets you up for a better strategy. Although we did see one driver last night, Bats Plus, pulling out a completely different strategy out of the bag, going from the soft tires over to a hard tire, doing a one-stop and still making that work. He was about 9 seconds ahead of just Jose last night when he crossed the line. So definitely these drivers, even though it's preseason testing, they are not waiting around at all. They're putting everything they've got on the table here tonight. We also saw quite a few drivers in Golden Class having spins and, you know, having getting acquainted with the outsides of the track, so to speak, quite often throughout last night's race. Seafreeze, do you think we're going to see the same thing from the Platinum drivers, or maybe they're going to be a little bit more sort of neat in their driver?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're still going to see a few spins, a little rust from some of these drivers, as the game literally just still came out only a few weeks ago, so I don't even think we're a full month into it. By the time we start season 12, we will be around that month-long period, so drivers are still trying to find, you know, there's the correct setups, the correct lines, how the cars handle, you know, back in season 11, in some of the last races of the season, most of the drivers knew everything they needed to know. It was just about optimizing and maximizing the lap times and results. And now you kind of hit the refresh button and we do it all over again. So it's all about learning who can learn the most and maximize as early as possible. Whoever does that the best will have a lot of success later on in this season, and if they continue later on in the next season that follows as well, so they're going to get a huge jump on the competition.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting season. It's going to take a couple of races for the field to get really well acquainted with how this car handles in terms of online and multiplayer in a competitive environment with, you know, 19 other drivers pushing for it every single lap. It's going to be very, very interesting. Another new driver here is Apprentice. I've had the chance to race with him in some 5-lap practices, so to speak, and a couple of races over the last few weeks, and he's definitely gonna be a quick one as well. So far he's done a 1:16.0. He's on a brand new set of soft tires right now, going through turns 7 and 8. One of my most hated parts of this track. I'm not a huge fan of Spain, but somehow I managed to win that race on Tuesday in our silver test. It just, my setup really worked out towards this track, and I think that's another big point that's going to be a big talking point this year, is the setups on these cars, the curbs, obviously, the new handling model that is sort of catching some people off guard. It's going to be a lot to get through and a lot to get used to in the first few weeks of the season, and we can't really, you know, you can't really wait around. You can't really, you know, give yourself a couple of months to get into it. You have to just start attacking from the start, because we've seen some drivers last year, like Tasmanian Devil, especially in the Platinum class. I think he won, what, 5 or 6 out of the first races of the season, so it's very easy for somebody to get all those points racked up and start running away with it. So definitely, I'm sure these drivers are going to do everything they can to try and improve on their performances before the actual season starts. Apprentice sets a purple Sector 1 on his hot lap right now. Let's jump on board with him right now. He's just come through turn 6. He's coming up into turn 7 and 8 now. Catches the inside curb nicely and the outside curb. Doesn't get that tail whip as you sometimes get, and then through turn 9 there, gotta watch out for the outside curb, but he gets it perfectly. Opens up the DRS running into turn 10. It's going to be a hard braking zone 2 going to the left-hand side. And now another tricky corner here that catches out a lot of drivers. Turn 11 and 12. And now you've got a little bit of a chicane coming up before you can make it to the line on another long right-hander in turn 16. So it's a very complicated track, but it does have some long straights. It has a couple of DRS zones where you can overtake. Apprentice goes first with a 1:15.429, beating Breezy by about 20 thousandths of a second there. Very impressive lap time from Apprentice.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one to watch this season, Blinn. You know, we don't have a track record on this guy, right? I mean, we know from a lot of other guys, we kind of know what to expect, but that's the interesting part, is we don't know the expectation on some of these guys we've never seen before. You know, Apparatus, he didn't race in any other class in TCR. This is the first time we're really getting to know where he is pace-wise, other than maybe some 5-lappers and some private lobbies. But, you know, that's all for fun. You know, this is more competitive. You're trying to build your season, build that confidence up, so when the 5 red lights come down in you know, the first race, boom, you know, you're ready. So, you know, I like to see that from Apparatus. And some of the other new guys, if you look on the grid, you know, you had Landon a little farther down. He would be the other new driver on the grid. Everyone else we're pretty familiar with. And I just wanted to point out, as I think he should get some sort of a welcome, is Breezy making a return to the grid. He's a two-time TCR Platinum champion, and he took season 11 off, and he is determined to get back onto the grid and compete for a championship. So I think that's something we need to highlight in this season 12 as well.
Absolutely. It's nice to see some people coming back. There's some news that possibly the previous season champion, Tasmanian Devil, is not going to be able to race on a regular basis. So, as I mentioned last night, that sort of opens up the door for some contenders, people like Bats Plus, Chatty Duck, Apparatus, Breezy, Stanley. They were all very, very close last year. Passassin is not here today, but I'm sure he's going to be making a comeback as well. He was second last year, and he was quite a far way behind Tasmanian Devil. But just to mention, Passassin did not do a full season. He started with us, I think, a couple of races in, so he might have had a different situation if he would have raced the whole season. Sequit, no news on him coming back just yet. We're not 100% sure on that, but that, again, those are your top three there, Tasmanian Devil, Passassin, and Sequit from last season. It's going to be a very interesting one, and now you've got people like Stanley, who was 8th in the standings last year. FYKV, I'm sure, is going to be back as well. He was 5th last year. And again, it just opens up the door for a lot of other drivers to show what they can do this year.
Yeah, I mean, I know Tasmanian Devil and Sequit will be probably reserving. You might see him at some point throughout the season, just not on a full-time basis, which is kind of disappointing because the last 2 seasons in Platinum, we have not been able to see the champion defend his championship. You know, we've seen in Season 10, Kersey won the Season 10 championship in Platinum. In Season 11, he did a few appearances. One at the All-Star race, and then another, I believe, at USA later in the season, but we didn't see him on a full-time scale. And Tasmanian Devil won Season 11 Platinum class, and we don't see him on a full-time basis. So the only previous champion, if the grid is going to be how I picture it, will be TCR Breezy. It's going to be only Breezy, the 2-time champ, versus the rest of the field. Last season was Go-To Guy. He was the only champion on the grid on a full-time scale, and now Go-To is going to be taking some time off as well. So it's only Breezy as a previous champion on the grid, and he's going to be using that experience versus some other guys like Passassin. I think has a really good shot because he's got that quick speed, as we saw at the end of Season 11. He was starting to unlock his potential and really try to learn with the no line. You know, he's fully committed this year, so I think you're going to see Breezy and Passassin have a nice few battles this season. So it's going to be experience, it's going to be that pure speed, and then it's going to be the newcomers. You know, where does Apparatus, where does he fall in line? Where does some of these other drivers fall in line? There might be some others that, you know, we might be, overlooking. Look at Chatty Duck, for example. I mean, he had last season, was his first season on the wheel, and this will be a lot more experience with him on the wheel. You know, he moved from controller to wheel, so he lost some of that initial speed. Looks like Chatty's coming back with it. So there's a lot of still cool things to look for when we finally go racing in 2 weeks' time.
And we're on board with Breezy right now on another hot lap on a brand new set of soft tires. He's just set a purple Sector 1. Tonight we are running the regular corner cutting rules just because we want to see the best pace that these drivers can do. But unlike last season, I think this season we're also paying attention to racecraft. So we've enabled the collisions. There's no damage, but the collisions are enabled. So we are looking to drivers to, act cautiously during overtakes, make overtakes nice and clean, and pretty much overall racecraft, including race pace as well. So let's see what they can do. Breezy has done pretty well for the first couple of sectors. He's just coming around to turn 16 now. He's going to be opening up the DRS in a second, going to be crossing the line. Where does it put him? On pole position with a 1:15.1 clear of Chatty. by about 2/10 of a second, and clear of Apparatus by about 3/10 of a second. Speaking of Chatty, he is now coming out of the pits, and he is going to be getting ready for another lap. There's 1.5 minutes left on the clock in qualifying here tonight, and then we're going to have ourselves a 50% race of 33 laps around this track. A lap around here is quite long. It's 4.6 kilometers, so 2.8 miles, 16 turns, very technical, very difficult track. You have to keep your focus at 100% pretty much, and again, on this new game, the curbs are just so brutal. You can touch one at any moment in the race, and you might have touched it and gone over it 20 times before, but that one time it just spits you out completely and you are absolutely done. So we're going to be watching for drivers to keep their calm, keep their focus, and see what they can do. But I am so excited ahead of Season 12 because we've got some great lineups of drivers. Again, this is just preseason testing. This is not the full grid that you're going to see once we actually get racing. I think it's going to be an absolutely amazing season to watch. So stay tuned for that. If you guys are new to the channel, leave us a like. Subscribe to the channel, leave some comments in the chat. I see some people that said hello. There's Daniel saying go SCR team, so that would be Landon and Fabrizio Troncoto. I think that is his name. That's why it's F Trunk. But I think we just called him Trunk all of last year when he was racing, so I think we'll just stick to that for now as well. We have a couple. Oh, and Chatty goes for a spin after touching a curb on the exit of turn 2. So that is going to be his lap over. Where's Apparatus? Apparatus has just made it around turn 3 and coming into turn 4. Can he improve? Can he possibly beat Chatty or Breezy? Did not put in a purple sector in sector 1. But still was better on his own time, so let's see where he's going to end up. And also, if you guys are new to the channel and you might want to race with us on F1 2021 this season in TCR in Season 12, check out the links in the description. You'll find a link to our website, and there you can fill out an application, let us know which class you want to try out for or which class you want to race in, and then we will contact you through our Discord channel to get you all set up for that. We still got spots available, I think, in all 3 classes, so just let us know if you're interested, and we'll get you all signed up. As Apparatus now crosses the line, and he's going to stay 3rd with a 1:15.4. Chatty Duck 1:15.3 is going to be in 2nd, and Breezy coming back in full strength already with a 1:15.1 to put him on pole position.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, at the end of the qualifying, it was experience that got the pole position for Breezy. He, after taking some time off, he is right back where he left off. He did not miss a step, as so far I know. He's in that Red Bull he opted for. These drivers were able to pick any teams and cars available tonight. It was first come, first serve, but you know, when we initially get going for the first race at Italy, not Bahrain this year, Italy, it's a little change of schedule. We will see what drivers choose as far as their cars, and that'll all be dependent on previous standings of last season. So Breezy gets the pole, Chatty Duck in P2, much improvement, only 2/10 off. Apparatus, the new driver, in P3. You have Deathwish in 4th on the soft, and then you take mention from 5th on down, you got the medium runner. So how will that play a factor in strategy, you know, throughout the entirety of the 50% race?
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. I mean, if you look at just the time differences, there's about 2.5 seconds from 1st to 11th place, but everybody from 5th down to 11th was on that medium tire, and that gap between 1st and 5th was only about 5 or 6 tenths of a second. So over the next 30...
I'm in a car, Blinn.
Oh, you're in a car. You're going to be driving. All right.
This is not a good idea, Blinn.
Well, you're just going to have to retire, and then you'll be spectating. I'm not sure if you'll be able to retire on the formation lap. But, as always...
You know, I will say, you know, this is the first time I loaded up the game. I have not played F1 2021 yet, and I will say, it looks wonderful. It really looks miles better than last game. So, you know, you got the new cars, the new, you know, everything looks a little finer, a little, you know, just a little bit better than last year. And, yeah, it looks very sharp. I like it.
Absolutely, I have to agree. And you know, on the PS5 especially right now, it is absolutely beautiful. There's no load up times, which is pretty cool as well. Everything loads up much quicker. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting race. We've got, as you mentioned, all those drivers on the medium tires, starting from 5th until 11th place. They're going to be taking those tires much longer into the race, or maybe at least a few laps longer. We've seen both in silver and in golden class, you can't really take those mediums beyond about lap 14. So it's going to be a very interesting call in terms of strategy. Let's get ready for the formation lap. We're going to see how our drivers get their tires all warmed up and ready for that. Breezy leading the pack in first, Chatty Duck in second, Apprentice in third, Deathwish Tricky in fourth place. All those four drivers are on the soft tires. And then we've got Stanley in fifth, Bamboo in sixth, Bats Plus in seventh, Latope in eighth, Zeppelin in ninth, Landon in 10th, F Trunk in 11th, and same TJ, who's actually Seafreeze, who's actually,
Yeah, I'm trying to.
yeah, supposed to be a spectator.
There's no button to hit retire. I gotta wait till the start of the race.
Yes.
Let me catch up.
All right, we will wait for Seafreeze to get ready.
The physics are definitely different.
Well, I'm guessing you're probably also on the controller right now.
I am on the controller, yes.
Yeah, so that's going to be a completely different feeling. But yeah, huge thank you to everybody who is watching the stream right now. I see that we've got about 2 or 3 people watching through our new Twitch channel, and we've got quite a few people watching on our YouTube channel as well. So to everyone, a huge thank you for joining. Again, subscribe to the channel, leave us a like, send in some more messages. Jose Julio says, is it over? No, it's just getting started. We are on the formation lap.
Just beginning. We got a full 50%. So you're just in time. Grab a drink. I will also mention, you know, we did push the start time back about a half hour. So for those wondering, maybe he was not aware, but yeah, we are starting the races 8:45 Eastern Standard Time, opposed to our 8:15. So a little bit of a half-hour delay. It's going to help out some of those West Coast drivers to get in, you know, rather than right off of work. So that could explain that there. But yeah, it's a half-hour start later in this season.
All right, our drivers are lining up on the grid, coming back from their formation lap, and we are getting ready to get going here tonight for the preseason test of the Platinum class ahead of Season 12. We are on board with Apprentice starting from third as 3, 4, and 5 lights now go on. And the lights go out and we go racing, and here comes Apprentice. He got a pretty good start. Breezy sort of bogged down a little bit. Chatty Duck is coming up his inside already. Apprentice weaving from one side to the other, trying to figure out where he's going to go into turn 1. And he gets a pretty good run there. Chatty Duck jumps into the lead, going outside, on the outside of Breezy there through turn 1 and 2. Doing a pretty good job now. Apprentice using his overtake, coming on Breezy, trying to go around the outside into turn 3, but that is not going to work for him right now. And looking back a little bit, we've got some cars side by side. The 2 Ferraris of Stanley and Deathwish Tricky going side by side into turn 6. And let's see who's going to come out of that one in front. It's going to be Stanley holding the position for now in 4th, and Deathwish Tricky very close behind in 5th. Ooh, a little bit of a weave there as he touches the curb, coming through turn 7 and 8. And now behind them as well, Bats Plus is lost a position to Latope. He's dropped down from 7th to 8th, and he is losing a bit of time there. He was pretty close on the exit of the previous corner, but it looks like under braking, maybe the tires are a little bit cold, and he's trying to get some temperature into them, but he is struggling to find the pace
the
for
Red Bull
now.
of Apprentice into the grass off that corner. He had to take a trip through the grass. That's going to get Stanley the position for P3 a little bit. I don't know if he might have gotten onto the curbing, but great start by Chatty Duck to get P1 over Breezy, as you got the Ferraris and Apprentice racing hard on the straight. Stanley's going to go defensive into turn 1.
Nice little battle going on here as the two cars are side by side, the Red Bull and the Ferrari. It's Pratis and Stanley battling it out here. I know the graphics are a little bit messed up right now. That glitch has not been fixed from the previous game, but Chatty Duck is still in front with Breezy in second, and they have pulled out a little bit of a gap now, about 2.3 seconds on the Pratis, as now the graphics come back to normal, and we are on lap 2 of this race. Quite a lot is already going on here. Death Race Tricky, him and his teammate Stanley, they are right behind each other. They're not letting off. Breezy is not letting off of Chatty Duck either. And we don't have DRS just yet, but it will be enabled on the next lap. And so far, a pretty nice, good, clean start. Pratis had that little bit of an off, but I think he just had a little bit of a twitch of the car mishandling there, but he is still on track. He's still holding on to his third place. So overall, not a bad start.
And it looks like he's got the speed and the pace more importantly. I think he'll be able to close back up to the top 2. His DRS should now be enabled on the lap 3.
Yeah, and it definitely will be, and Breezy is going to be trying to use that DRS to his advantage, probably on the next DRS corner, which is going to be after turn 9. It's very tricky here, because if you open up that wing when you don't have the car balanced after you touch that outside curb on the exit of turn 9, you might have a big spin. So Breezy needs to be, again, very focused, very calm, very collected, find the right time and the right angle, and get in there and possibly make this overtake. But huge props to Chatty Duck, doing a huge job right now. He's qualified well. He's doing a good offensive job in the first couple of laps, and now he's going to show us if he can defend against a two-time champion like Breezy. Again, this is just preseason testing, but this is quite exciting already.
Yeah, it gives us a bit of a glimpse in what we will be seeing. But yeah, Chatty's under pressure with Breezy. He's going to have DRS on the front straight. In Spain, it's not the easiest track to overtake on, but he needs a good exit out of the last corner. It'll set you up down the straight. Breezy only 2/10 behind. Now with the DRS, should be an easy move. On the straight is the Red Bull. Let's see if Chatty can just duck in and, you know, potentially keep pace with Breezy for a little bit, you know, later in this race. Thinking long term.
I think we might see a little bit of ping pong on the lead positions. As long as they can stay with each other, they might pass one another whenever the one runs out of ERS and the other one saves it up. It's going to be very interesting to watch. But let's go back a little bit, a couple of positions backwards. We've got Deathwish Tricky and Stanley, the two Ferraris, still locked head-to-head or head-to-rear wing, trying to really make something happen around here. Now, Seafreeze, you know, you are a driver of Formula 1 games that definitely has a lot, especially in the TCR League, three-time champion of Platinum class. You know, Spain is a track that we absolutely did not choose by chance for the preseason testing. It's quite complicated, but you know, what do you find the most complicated parts of Spain are for yourself?
I think everything. I didn't have much success at Spain in my career. If anything, it was the total opposite. And that might be, I don't know, that might be a reason why we do put it on, is because it is so difficult. It is so technical. You get a little bit of everything. Just like in real Formula 1, they use that as the preseason. As you got Bats Plus and Latote. Bats Plus for P7, Bambuki on the Ferrari in P5. The Alpine this year in Bambuki up to P5, so nice moves there with the DRS. But yeah, I think it's a technical track. I think you get a little bit of everything, and then, you know, to be honest, I don't think many of the drivers like racing at Spain, so if we did need to put it in the rotation, it would be in preseason. Which I think is fun. I think it's a great preseason, just like real F1 uses it for, but it doesn't put on the best show when it comes to races. We did race it last year. Oh no, season 10 I think was the last time we raced it on the calendar, but you know, it shows, you know, all the pace from all these drivers, and who's to say these drivers aren't really pushing all the way? I mean, for some, like Chatty Duck is, you know, a few, you know, Stanley, some of these guys who made top 10 in last season, they're already confirmed on the grid. They're just showing up to get some practice, getting out there, a little bit more experience towards our first race. But, who's to say they're not putting it all on display, right? I've raced a bunch of times with Breezy in preseason, and he is a good sandbagger. So if he's sandbagging today, then the field's got a problem. You got to watch out for Breezy, but he's doing really good, and it's you don't know everyone's true pace until a few races into the season. You'll start to get a glimpse of where everyone is and who needs to do some more work.
Yeah, absolutely, but Chatty Duck unfortunately dropped out of the DRS zone of Breezy, so Breezy is really putting on some good pace right now. The closest battle we've got on track is still Deathwish and Bambuki. Bambuki just overtook Deathwish about a couple of laps ago. We're only on lap 6 of 33, so obviously a very long way to go. But funny enough, Bamboo is one of the drivers on the medium tires. We've got Stanley and Bamboo each made up a position from where they started, and now they are the lead drivers on the medium tires. So I'm expecting Breezy and Chatty Duck, they're probably going to try and undercut each other. So we're probably expecting, stops around lap, I'm thinking 9 or so. We're going to keep an eye on that, but at that point, Stanley and Bambuki, they're going to be released into a bunch of open air with tires that are at about, half of their optimal lifetime. They're going to be able to pull out some time there, possibly.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, with the strategy. The medium should be kicking in quite soon. But yeah, with the new game, it's still hard to know the strategies. I mean, a lot of the strategies will carry over from track to track, so you should get a glimpse, especially with some practice. You should kind of know the strategies heading into the race, especially for the league races when we get going for the season. But, this is some time to test it out, see what actually works, and really all about learning the setup, how it reacts with the setup and the tires, and, getting with the dirty air of other drivers. It's one thing to know how your car will react, but then you have to deal with everyone else on the track as well. Racing and actually putting it all together. Putting it down on paper and actually performing is something different than just having the speed. You actually have to, show up and perform. And as we have apparatus coming into the pit lane from those soft tires from P3. And
he's doing this on lap 6, so he's pretty much committing, I think, at this point for a 2-stop. So that's going to be interesting to see, but yeah, very early to pit from those soft tires.
Yeah, unless he thinks he could get, closer to the end of this race, possibly. He will get a little bit of an undercut, possibly on the front too, but the gap was quite big, so I don't think he'll get an overtake out of it. Bats Plus a few laps ago did go for a little bit of a spin in the third sector. That's how he lost to P9, promoted Zeppelin and Trunk. And for those wondering, LAS Zeppelin is actually Mick Maracote from the previous seasons we've known him as. He's got a little bit of a name change, running under the LAS. And Latope as well, making a return. I don't know if he's going to be doing Golden or Platinum. He took the line off. He was originally supposed to be doing Golden, but he missed it last night, and we said, get in there in Platinum, see what you can do, and he's in P6 at the moment. We got leader Joe Breezy, or TCR Breezy, now into the pit lane as Chatty goes one extra lap.
Yeah, I love having Seafreeze in the booth because you know all of the old names, the new names, you know exactly which seasons everyone has won. You're a whole encyclopedia of TCR knowledge. I absolutely love it. Because I thought that Zeppelin was somebody that changed his name. I just couldn't remember who it was. And Latope, definitely seen that name in TCR before. And I'm pretty sure he's still going for the Golden class. He just wanted to have some track time in testing and unfortunately missed the Golden test last night. So he was able to join today. He has taken off the line for today, but he might still be using it when he goes back into Golden class. But for those of you that don't know, when we run our different classes in the full season, we have Silver class that has some ability to have some minimal assists on, like medium traction, like ABS and the racing line. And then we have Golden Class, which only allows the racing line as the only assist that you can use. And then what we're watching here tonight is Platinum Class, which does not use any assist, not even the racing line whatsoever. So Stanley has just overtaken Chatty Duck, even though he's pitted for his pit stop already. I think Chatty Duck has had a connection error, and he has had to rejoin into the lobby. So he has unfortunately lost quite a bit of time there.
Oh, I thought it was just his tires hit a cliff, unless you saw a notification that he did disconnect. But
I saw a notification that said he joined, so I assumed he had to disconnect.
Yeah, all right, then maybe. And Breezy pitted last lap. He had to, he was right behind Zeppelin, but now overtakes him for P5. So he got held up a little bit. And if Chatty actually was in for the entirety, he probably could have got the overcut. As Tronk goes for a spin in turn 2, turn 3. And he's back going.
So now looking at the intervals to the leader, Stanley is 15 seconds clear of Breezy. And that's going to be an interesting one, because over here in Spain, you only lose about 20 seconds total on your pit stop. So basically, we're going to have a situation like we had last night when Just Jose had his hard tires were a little bit fresher than Bats Plus. But still, Bats Plus was able to keep in front of him. So now we might have Stanley or Bambuki possibly challenging Breezy for the win here tonight at the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see for that one and see how it turns out. But Deathwish Tricky is another driver to take his pit stop now. He's coming in from his soft tires. He's the last runner on those soft tires now to change over. Apparatus 118.189 for the new fastest lap of this race. And Apparatus is currently in 5th place. So he came out of the pits in 10th. He's made up a few positions. He's right behind Apparatus, actually. He's going to be quite close to him if he can keep up his pace. He's about 2 seconds behind now. And then we've got Latope currently in 3rd, Bambuki and Stanley in 2nd and 1st, and those guys have not made their stops just yet.
And Breezy, I forgot to mention, he went on the hard tire, the only driver to do so. So he's thinking some long game. He's going to the end of the race as expected. And Apparatus, the other Red Bull, he's on the medium, so he's only a second behind Breezy. They both did pit stops, but Apparatus will probably need another pit stop unless he could go all the way to the end, which, I have not much running on this game, 0 in fact, so I'm not too sure if those can go to the end, but yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe someone in the comments would probably know better. They would probably let me know. But he is gaining on Breezy, so you might see an overtake between the Red Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, the tires in this game do last a few more laps than they used to before, but I don't think it's going to be enough to last for 22 laps. Apparatus now with another quickest lap, 1:17.798, as we've got Breezy overtaking Latope right in front of him. So his teammate in the other Red Bull moved himself up into 3rd place, and now only about still about 15 seconds behind Stanley. So Stanley is doing a pretty good job of keeping that pace and keeping that interval, so that when he comes out of the pits after his pit stop, he's not going to be too far away from Breezy in the lead. We're going to wait to see how that all turns out, but now Apparatus gets a beautiful exit out of turn 6, and he's going to go around the outside of Latope, like Latope is standing still. There must have been a mistake there from Latope on the exit, because Apparatus made that look way easier than it was. He's up into 4th place now, and he is only 7/10 away from Breezy, 6/10 away from Breezy now. Did Breezy have a little bit of a mistake somewhere? Because he was over a second ahead just a few moments ago. So now Apparatus might have a chance of putting on some pressure on the net leader of the race at this point in time.
And it looks like it's going to be a Red Bull day here in preseason. If you look back at last season's preseason, it was also a Red Bull kind of day. It was Tasmanian Devil and FYKV battling it out for the win of the race. And, they went on to win the Constructors. Them two actually did plan on being teammates. I don't know about Breezy and Apparatus, but again, it might be another season of a Red Bull. Just a little bit different driver pairing, potentially.
We have Bats Plus pitting right now for his hard tires. He's going to come out last and a few seconds behind Trunk, but he's going to have a chance to take these tires until the end and maybe make up some more positions when this one is all said and done. But as it stands right now, about 13 and a half, 14 seconds from Stanley to Breezy. Stanley and Bambuki have done 12 laps on their medium tires. I think they're going to start thinking about their pit stop in the next 2 or 3 laps or so, because these tires will start fading around lap 14. Nobody's coming into the pits just yet. Bambuki is choosing to continue on as well, and behind them, this little battle that we're watching behind the Pratis and Breezy, the 2 Red Bulls on 2 different compounds of tire at this moment in the race. We're not even halfway yet, so anything can still happen, but a Pratis is here to show that he belongs in Platinum class, and so far he's doing a pretty good job of that, as he's now going to put the attack on Breezy, and he touches the back of Breezy, and he smashes into the wall, unfortunately, there. So he's going to have to come back on track and try to recover, but he's going to drop quite a few positions there. I got to say, Breezy did sort of move a little bit back and forth, and that might be something that, you know, Pratis is not going to be happy about after this race is over.
Oh yeah, I just watched the replay because I actually was on board with another driver, but yeah, it looks like Breezy defended the inside of them. I don't know if he let off trying to just give it to Pratis, because the closing speed looked quite big. I don't know if Breezy maybe let off the gas for some reason to just let Pratis go, and maybe that's why he went right into the back of him, because it didn't look like a gradual closing speed. It looked quite big, you know, and that's my only guess right there. But yeah, interesting. Not too sure. We'll have to see after the race.
We've got Bambuki coming into the pit, so he's the first one out of the 2 leaders in front there to pit from the medium tires over to a set of hards that he's going to take until the rest of this race here. We've got Breezy, who just overtook him for 2nd place. And where is Bamboo going to come out? I think he's going to come out in 5th, right in between Latope and Deathwish Tricky there. Latope and Deathwish Tricky switch positions because Latope is actually into the pits as well for his stop. So now Chatty Duck moves up a few positions. He's about a second behind Zeppelin, who's now in 3rd and still running on his medium tires. Breezy's in 2nd and 15.9 seconds behind Stanley. So Stanley actually extended that gap by about a second, doing a pretty good job in front there. And then Bambuki came out about 3 seconds behind about 6 seconds behind Breezy, and they had about a 2.5 second gap before, 3 second gap before he went in. So it's going to be very close between Stanley and Breezy when Stanley comes out after his 2nd pit stop here tonight. Or his first pit stop, sorry.
Yeah, his first pit stop, but I don't know, maybe Stanley is going pretty good on the mediums in the Ferrari tonight. Maybe he can pull out a little bit more of a gap, and then when he comes out, he'll have the fresher tires to go, you know, for an attack on Breezy. The gaps are still around 16 seconds, so if I'm Stanley, I'm looking at the gap. Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? Is it maintaining? How are my tires? You know, how much longer can I go on this set, and you know, to set up the next stint for the remaining of the race? Because if he pits now, he's probably around 4 seconds back. That'll be he'll slot in right between Breezy and Chatty, and then it'll be a full-on sprint towards the end for Stanley. He's probably, I don't know, maybe he might go on the softs. He'd have to go a lot longer. I don't know, maybe he'd put the hard on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what those drivers decide to do in terms of strategy. We had a couple more drivers pitting right now. We had Zeppelin and Landon making their pit stops, both fitting on a brand new set of hard tires and taking that one, I'm sure, until the end of the race. We're now pretty much halfway through the race, or almost there. So this is going to be a very crucial time for the drivers to decide pretty much what they're going to be up to in this race. But Breezy dropping another couple of tenths of a second back to Stanley. So Stanley really making good use of his medium tires, taking them to 16 laps now, and not pitting on this lap either. He continues on for another one. So he's really finding great pace on those tires. Chatty Duck setting a brand new fastest lap on the medium set, 117.549. So that's an extra point for him if there were points up for grabs. But again, this is preseason testing. That's why we don't have a full grid either here tonight. The drivers that showed up just wanted to get some track time, wanted to get some laps in, and some of these drivers are trying out for Platinum class as well. So they wanted to show that they can keep up with some of the drivers in this class. But right now, Stanley still up in the lead, 16.7 seconds clear of Breezy in second. Chatty Duck is in third, 3 seconds behind Breezy. And then we have Bambuki in fourth place, about 5 seconds behind Chatty Duck. And then we're watching this battle here between Deathwish and Apparatus. Apparatus had that little bit of an incident on the start-finish straight, trying to overtake Breezy. He's dropped down to about 8th place, but he's recovered down to 6th, and he's only about 1.1 seconds behind Deathwish, so he's going to start closing up possibly into his DRS zone pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll manage the gap between Stanley and Breeze. Stanley another lap on those medium tires. I just want to take this time to just mention, thank you all for watching on either platform of YouTube or Twitch. This season we are trying things a little bit different, so we will be streaming our races live for all the classes, at least initially on both. Always on our YouTube, but also on our Twitch channel. Go give us a follow over on Twitch at Trinity Racing, and we encourage you to watch on whatever platform you prefer. Either Twitch or YouTube. I know some drivers and some people like to watch on either or, so now you have that option, and share the word out that TCR is starting in 2 weeks. Next week we are fully off, getting all the grids prepared, and we come back in 2 weeks' time for the Italian Grand Prix for round number 1 of a 15-race schedule. It's not too late to join. Go into the description of the channel and you'll go to our website and fill out an application, and we could potentially get you on the grid for either of the 3 classes as Stanley pits now from the race lead.
So he's done 17 laps on that medium tire, and that possibly gives some additional hope to maybe Chatty Duck, who's thinking of making until the end of the race on his medium tires, or maybe even Apparatus or Deathwish as well. We're going to have to wait and see for that one, but 17 laps is a long, long time to spend on a set of medium tires. So Breezy is overtaking Stanley now. Stanley comes out of the pits. Is he going to be able to keep second place? No, he drops behind Chatty Duck in third, but he's only about 3.5 seconds away from Breezy. So as long as he can get a good outlap right now, get some heat into those tires, and get a good pace on, he still has a pretty good chance of being either second or first, even possibly here tonight, because he's got 9-lap fresher tires than Breezy, and Breezy still needs to do another 12 or 14 laps on this tire.
Yeah, and don't count Stanley out by any means. I mean, he won the 100% race last year in Platinum. He won it the 100% race at Britain. He's also the runner-up in Golden Class a few seasons ago from Jippo. So, Stanley, he had a really good season last year. He's working to improve upon that. And look, right in preseason, he's contending for the win of the likes of Breezy and Chatty Duck, who was also quite good last season, Bambuki. So he's right up there. Don't count Stanley out. And he's got a good chance to pull these top 2 with that tire advantage.
Yeah, right now he dropped a little bit of time on his outlap, getting the heat into the tires and getting them ready. But on this particular game, I have to say, especially the hard tires, they have a lot more pace than they used to have on F1 2020. And they're more sort of realistic to what you hear from the drivers, saying that, the first 2 or 3 laps are very crucial, that you don't want to push. You want to get them up to temperature, and then for the next 15 laps, they're going to give you a good, consistent pace. And that's pretty much what I find in this game as well, especially on the hard tire. If you push them too hard at the start, you get them overheated, they're not going to give you what you want for the long run. So maybe Stanley is being a little bit smarter here tonight. He's just, getting them nice and warmed up, getting them ready for the long run of good pace, good consistency. He's setting a purple second sector right now as well, so he's definitely finding some pace. He's about 3.5 seconds back to Breezy in first, so still not losing a lot of time, all things considered. And once he finds that pace on those brand new hard tires, he's going to be a little bit quicker, I'm sure. So we'll see what he can do. He's currently in third. He's about 1.6 seconds away from Chatty. He did 0.8 of a second quicker on that last lap than his previous best.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Chatty had that problem as well with the disconnection earlier in the race. Without that, he might have even been leading the race. I don't know if he meant to go on the medium tire or if the AI decided to put him on the medium, but that might take him out a little bit of contention because those tires are going to be very much slower than the hard tires that will be able to go to the distance. So it's up to Chatty to see if he'll come in, maybe put the softs on. He'll be really quick, but then again, he'll need an extra pit stop. But Stanley needs to close up. He's about 0.5 second off of DRS. If he can get within there, the DRS detection zone is right at the last corner, right after the chicane. If he could close up and get a good exit, he might have it down the straight, but it looks like he's still around that 0.5 second out of the DRS, so just about that 1.5 behind Chatty. And Chatty's also another 1.5 off of Breezy, so I don't know, maybe that's the dirty air from these drivers, or maybe that's just the driver's pace. I don't know.
Yeah, we will watch very closely those top three because, again, all three of them are on completely different tire strategies. They are doing, around the same pace right now, but I'm sure that pace is going to start fading, especially for Breezy and Chatty Duck, as they are going to start nearing the end of their tire life a little bit earlier than Stanley will. And then we also have Bambuki in fourth, who's probably counting on Chatty making another stop, and he's looking to end up on the podium here tonight as well. Apparatus, after his little spin, he's dropped down to 5th place, or actually I should say recovered up to 5th place, and he's about 2.5 seconds behind Bambuki in 5th right now. So it's a pretty interesting one. I mean, overall, I gotta say the pace is quite consistent and quite close between the field here tonight. We don't have everybody in the field. I'm sure when you add an extra 8 drivers onto the grid, it's going to change things up and it's going to make things a lot more interesting. You're going to have drivers that are going to have to think about not just their own strategy, but also the strategies of other people around them. Turn 1 and the first couple of laps, of course, are usually very hectic in any Formula 1 race, and that's no exception for online league racing either. So we're going to be very excited to see how that gets on. But for today, for those of you who possibly are just joining the stream, this is just preseason testing for the Platinum class ahead of Season 12. It's starting on August 17th. We're starting on the Tuesday, as always, with Silver class, and then Wednesday is going to be Gold, and Thursday, as always, our Platinum class is going to make their appearance. So that's going to be August 19th for the Platinum class and August 18th for the Golden class. But it's going to be on both YouTube and Twitch, as Seafreeze mentioned, so you guys can watch it on both of the most popular sort of streaming platforms that we've got at the moment. We will see if we can expand to possibly Facebook in the future or anything
big
else.
Moment from Stanley. Sorry to interrupt, but big moment. He lost quite a few tenths. He almost went into the gravel trap coming onto that straightaway. I don't know if he might have clipped the curb, but that's going to hurt his progression. Sorry to cut you off, but I thought he was going for the barrier.
Yeah, I think we saw it on stream there as well, but he's lucky to catch that back. And Chatty Duck sort of gained a little bit more time on Breezy in the meantime, which is very interesting here. Chatty Duck still finding pace after 13 laps on the medium tire. Maybe the fuel dropping down is helping him out on this new game. Fuel mixes are not allowed anymore, so you're locked in to just standard for the whole race. You can't burn off fuel, you can't save up extra, but the cars save a lot of fuel as it is already, so it's going to be interesting to see how our drivers are going to manage their setups when the season comes around, because fuel, setup, strategy, and everything else is very, very different on this game as it used to be on 2020.
Yeah, much different to this game. I just wanted to, go to a point you just mentioned earlier. Is we only have 11 here tonight, and we're gonna have the full grid, when we get going for the first race. But we've had such a good race already today for the lead with these strategies, very close as well on track. But think about how it would be when you do add the likes of Passassin and KGB, Professional, the golden champion of last year, Packer, to the grid. That'll fill the rest of the gaps. That'll really have a nice, and some of the new drivers as well that maybe couldn't have attended tonight. So with all those all together, it's going to be, really interesting to see who will actually be up at that top steps. But this is the exciting time for me and everyone. I think when we get to a new season is, who's got it and who don't. And I think we're getting a glimpse of it, but we don't get the full picture, obviously, until everybody is on that grid and the 5 red lights go out, and we get to see the race in full. So very exciting.
But for now, we've got another little battle going on track with Apparatus and Bambuki. Apparatus is on 16-lap-old medium tires. Bamboo is on the hards that have only done 9 laps so far. So again, Apparatus still managing to find some time on an older set of medium tires, just like Chatty Duck is right now. Chatty is almost into the DRS zone of Breezy. He's getting closer and closer with every lap, and that makes me think, will Breezy possibly think to make another pit stop? Will Chatty Duck possibly try to pull out this tire until the end? Is Apparatus going to try and pull out his medium tire until the end? If he does, that's going to be 22 laps. No, there we go. He goes into the pits now. So he's going to put on a fresh set of softs most likely, and then just take those as quickly as he can. But now Chatty is within 0.8 of a second on Breezy. Breezy is really starting to feel the hurt of that wear on those hard tires after just 16 laps.
Personally, I never liked the hard tire at any track unless you really did need to run it. They're just slow and sluggish. It's hard to get tire temps into it. It's hard to lean on the tire. It's just slow. It just makes the car not want to turn as much. And from what I've heard, these cars are very understeer-like. The last thing I would want to do is put a hard tire on, especially with 16 laps of wear on it. That thing's not turning. That thing's a boat. And it looks like Breezy, that could be the struggles right now, or maybe he knows Chatty in his situation. Maybe he's just, I don't need to go nothing crazy. I got this. But we'll see. Chatty now within DRS off the final chicane in the final corner. He'll have it down the straightaway. He opens it, but he's going to be a little too far back to really make an attempt. But he does gain a lot towards the end of the straightaway.
Yeah, and using his ERS very smartly as well. I was watching him on board a couple of laps ago, and he was saving it up behind Breezy slowly but surely. He was at about 70% there on the start-finish straight, and he only used it for a few seconds to try and gain the time. But Breezy's still doing a pretty good job of defending and keeping the pace consistent enough to not drop too much time to Chatty. But I think he's just making little mistakes on certain corners because those tires are just screaming for help at this point in time. Yeah, there we go on the exit of turn 7. The back of the car just giving him a little bit of a snap, and he had to let off the gas there. But Chatty Duck again closing up ever so slightly as Landon goes for a little bit of a spin in turn 12. And the leaders are actually getting close to starting to lap some cars, possibly in the next couple of laps or so.
Yeah, and that would be pretty sure that's the Alfa Romeo of Landon, and then the Aston Martin of Trunk. If they didn't have those 1 or 2 half spins and travels into the gravel trap, they probably would not have been lapped. But they might still finish on the lead lap here. But Chatty very close at the end of the straightaway. Purple lap as well from Chatty, the Alpine. man, it's like these tires, it's like Lewis, the tires hit another, it's like the tires hit a different stage. Man, Chatty's getting up, or maybe Breezy is going the other way. A second wind. Or maybe Breezy's tires really hit a cliff. It's one or the other. Maybe they're both coming together. But Chatty Duck, half a second. I think he might make a move, even perhaps on the mini middle straight here in the next corner.
Yeah, they are very, very close to each other, and we only have 5 more laps to go here tonight. Can Chatty make those tires last until the end of the race here? That's going to be a big if. And same thing with Deathwish Tricky. That's also going to be a big if because he's on 16 lap all tires now. Lataupe gets a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Even though we're running regular corner cutting today, I know he's not running the line, so he might be losing a little bit of control over the car in some of the corners, or maybe, you know, braking a little bit too late and overshooting it. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. Again, it's just testing. We are not allocating any points for today's race. Chatty Duck on the straight, closing up once again to about 0.4 of a second to Breezy, but not close enough to make a move just yet. Stanley has dropped back quite significantly. He is 6 seconds back on Chatty and 6.5 on Breezy. Bambuki 7.9 seconds behind Stanley as well. So a couple of gaps are now emerging between these drivers, but not between Breezy and Chatty Duck. These two have been locked in it for pretty much the whole race.
Yeah, and you talked about, you know, if Chatty Duck's tires will get to the end of the race. You know, we're in preseason testing. You might as well just stick it out. See if they do last. And just go to the end. If you're Chatty, you know, you're putting the pressure on Breezy. Go to the end until they pop. You know, that's a, you know, see, you know, you learn that in preseason. You know, we're not giving points out. You might as well go to the end and see if it's true. Maybe you can get to the end.
See if they pop.
Yeah, let's see it. You know, let's get the experiments out. Landon moves out of the way as a blue flag on Breezy. Chatty will be closing half a second, a little bit closer than he was last lap, but just not enough. He still has enough battery, a little bit more than Breezy. So maybe he's just waiting for the right opportunity, and then he'll dump the rest of the battery that he has.
I gotta say, on this new game, the animation for the tires is a little bit different, and I can see on the front left of Breezy, there are blisters that are now appearing on the tire, which is very interesting. We've never seen that before in any of the Formula 1 games, but it might be a sign that those tires are really, really close to the end of their tire life. The back tires also look a little bit grained out. So, yeah, good job on the animations from EA and Codemasters this year. I did hear a rumor that they are going to bring in an animation like they do in the race of AWS, showing you the current status of the tire life of the drivers. So if they do that, that's going to be an incredible addition from a commentator perspective, from a viewer perspective. That's going to add a little bit more information that we can show on screen. And yeah, I can't wait until they hopefully do that. Chatty Duck now going on a 20th lap on this medium tire, closing up on Breezy, but still staying within about 0.4 of a second at the closest moment that he gets to. I think both of them are really starting to feel that wear, and I'm still surprised that Stanley was not able to keep up with them, was not able to do you know, faster lap times that he's doing right now with 6-lap, you know, fresher tires than the rest of the field. But still, he's able to hold on to it for now. Deathwish Tricky has dropped a position to a Pratis, so he's now in 6th and on 19-lap all tires as well.
Yeah, that spin or half spin from Stanley could have, you know, hurt his inroads on the top two, or maybe just his confidence as well. It could just be you know, maybe he was pushing too hard, and maybe he was really on the limit. You know, you don't really know. But we have a yellow. That would be Trunk, but it looks like he's figured it out. So yeah, Chatty again will be within DRS. He's got 80% battery. I'm just waiting to see when he'll dump it. He uses a little bit off the corner. and I think that's just to keep up with Breezy. But at the end of the straight, he's around 3 to 4 tenths, so he needs to ideally be around the 7, 8 tenths, maybe even closer at the start of the straight in order to make a true challenge at the end of it.
Yeah, it looks like he lost a little bit of time on the last lap, but he's now closing that gap back up again. He's 0.2 of a second quicker through Sector 1 than his best time. So maybe he just made a small mistake or went wide somewhere in the previous lap, because now he's within 0.4 of a second of Breezy, and looks like he's starting to close up more and more on this lap 32 of 33. Only a couple more laps to go, or a lap and a half pretty much from this point on. So if Chatty wants to make a move, he needs to make it pretty soon. And I mean, if he ends up winning this race, that's going to be huge props to Chatty. After having a disconnection, after having a pit strategy that we didn't even think is going to work, we didn't think these medium tires are going to last the whole race, but he's showing us completely otherwise, and he's still putting on an attack on Breezy at the same time.
Yeah, now he's within 6 tenths. He's going to use all the battery. Breezy's only got around 18 left. Chatty's going to close up this last opportunity. He's going to look to the inside, but no, not enough. And we're on the last lap of the preseason race here for Platinum Season 12. The new season kicks off in 2 weeks' time at Italy. And it's Breezy, followed by Chatty, half a second behind, both 23, then 22 laps old of tires. One is on the hard, one's on the medium. I would not say that is how this race would have been ended. But this is what we have at the moment. Breezy goes a little bit deep into that turn there, and coming onto the straightaway, it's going to be too short of a straight for Chatty to make a move. As he gets so close, it's just very tough at Spain, especially the third sector, to make an overtake. But it looks like Breezy can hold off here. Just a few more corners left.
Yeah, it looks like Breezy is going to hold on to the lead of this race after all of that pressure that Chatty has been putting on him. It was not enough. Breezy comes across the line now, and he wins this preseason test here tonight for the Platinum class ahead of Season 12 of TCR. Chatty a very, very close second behind him as well. Stanley is going to end up in third, and a good podium finish for himself. Bambuki is going to be fourth, Apparatus in fifth. Bats Plus, after his win last night in Golden, definitely the pace in Platinum is a little bit different because he is sixth here tonight. And now we've got also Death Wish Tricky in seventh, Zeppelin in eighth, Latope in ninth, F-Trunk in 10th, and Landon in 11th, and a lap down. But I'm sure that, as I said before, these drivers have 2 more weeks that they are going to use very, very wisely to try and get better at all aspects of this new game, and also get themselves familiarized with the tracks that we're going to be racing on in Season 12. We have 15 different tracks lined up. We have some tracks that are making their return that have not been raced in quite a while. I think Singapore is one that I'm really looking forward to, because that is one track that I absolutely adore. I love street tracks like Baku, like Singapore, and I'm excited for that. But the first race of the season is going to be in Italy at Monza in 2 weeks' time. And yeah, if you guys were watching here tonight, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely, as I said, like the video, subscribe, leave your comments, check out the links in the description if you want to join the league. Bats Plus gets driver of the day. And yeah, I guess Seafreeze, let us know your thoughts of the race.
I think it was really good for the amount of drivers that we had. And, you know, if it wasn't for Chatty's disconnection, I don't know, he could have won the race. And I think regardless, you know, he's got the satisfaction of getting, you know, a good result in preseason, and that'll carry over with the momentum to the full season. But, you know, you add the rest of the drivers on the grid, and it's going to be a really competitive season, you know, with all the other drivers mixed in, you know, for all the classes as well. We'll be able to see the true talents of everybody. But yeah, I think a few people shown lots of improvement from last season. One of Chatty Duck potentially, as well as Stanley. You have Prattis, the new guy. If it wasn't for that contact with Breezy, he probably also could have had a shot at the win as well. So it's good to see all these different strategies and all these new drivers finding their ways. And like you said, the drivers will have 2 more weeks to study and get everything all ready for the first race, as I'm sure some will be practicing, maybe more than others, but in the end everybody will be ready to go racing, and I'm really so excited. I wasn't so excited because, you know, behind the scenes, you know, it's been pretty busy as of for us officials, but to see the preseason race, you know, that kind of got me excited. We have next week off, we come back in the following, and it's going to be a full-on go to we pretty much go all the way up to the end of the year this season. So we have a bunch of good tracks lined up, a bunch of good events, new drivers, returning drivers, a couple new features, you know, a revamp of season 12. Pretty much every season we have new things coming to each grid and each season, and you know, I'm really excited to hook this one all up and see how it does. You know, it's going to be a really good season, as like many others, but you know, it's been pretty well, and I can't wait to get things going. It'll be here before you know it.
All right, perfectly put there by Seafreeze, and yeah, I'm super excited to get going, but we're gonna have to wait for just a couple more weeks before we get going. So again, subscribe to the channel, leave us a like, leave some comments, send in some messages into the chat while we still got the stream up here. Let us know if you want to join the league possibly. Check out the links in the description there as well, and you'll be able to fill out the application on our website and maybe even race in the Platinum class with some of the guys you saw on screen here today. But yeah, I think it was a really good race here tonight, just like we had a really good race in Golden and in Silver class this week as well. Good testing, good information for a lot of the drivers as well as ourselves in the league to figure out which classes people belong in, and you know, their pace and their racecraft and everything else like that. So up until August 17th, when we get going with the Silver class for Season 12 in full, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you very soon, but from myself, from Blind Machine, and also from Seafreeze, thank you guys so much. We will see you very soon. Have a great night.